And joining us now from Denver, Colorado is NCBA CEO Colin Woodall. Colin, thanks for taking a few minutes for us this evening.
It's great to be with you, Kevin.
So to begin with, tell us just a little bit about when we expect to know more about the CARES Act package that NCBA helped get passed through Congress.
So USDA has made it very clear that the Office of Management and Budget is doing a final review. So we do hope to have that as quickly as possible. Secretary Perdue has said that he hopes to have checks in producers' hands by the time we get to Memorial Day. So that's coming up pretty quick. So we are hoping that he is able to follow through on that, because we know there's a lot of need out there right now. And it's been almost a month and a half since the CARE Act was passed. We need to see this implemented, and we do have hope that we will see that here fairly soon.
Do you have any insights on what producers will need to know about the application process itself?
We don't have all the details yet, but more than likely they're going to have to go to their local farm service agency, whether that's in person or online. We don't know yet, because a lot of that has to do county by county, in some cases state by state. But one thing that I would tell all of our viewers right now, if you're going to take advantage of this program, make sure that you have good records. Put them in some sort of document, whether that's a spreadsheet file or a Word document file. Make sure it's not on the back of an envelope. You're going to need to have some good, strong files to take with you that just give a history of what your marketing plans would have been, what those losses are, so that way you don't have to come back to that FSA office time and time again.
Let's talk packing plants. Give us an update on where we stand with America's packing plants since the executive order that President Trump issued to keep them operating and running. And what does it mean, Colin, to the backlog of fat cattle we have building up in the country?
The executive order was a big win for us, and we're very thankful for the president and his effort in invoking the Defense Production Act on these packers. And what we have seen in the almost 2 weeks now since that was put in place is that the local governments and the whims of local governments have not been able to sway the decisions on closing these packing plants down as much as they were. We have a more standardized approach. And USDA has come forward in their role as part of this executive order in making sure that the CDC guidance is being followed, because we have to keep in mind that we have to protect these workers. If we don't have these workers in these plants, we can keep them open all day long and we still won't be able to process the cattle that we need to be able to process. So this is about making sure that all the efforts are in place to protect the workers, and the guidance makes it very clear that once we implement those suggestions, then we can have workers who are safe and still able to disassemble those carcasses. And that's what we're going after. And we do hope that we will see by the end of the week a turn in this issue, and hopefully seeing much more capacity and being able to process those cattle that you talked about that are backing up because we just can't get them in the plants.
Yep, fair statement, and thank you for all the efforts. What about beef supply? Gosh, we're reading reports right now where some supermarkets are limiting the amount of beef that consumers can purchase, and some fast food restaurants are finding themselves in periods of shortfall. Can we assure consumers that there is an ample supply of beef, or what should our message be?
We feel very comfortable in letting our consumers know that we don't have a nationwide shortage of beef. We are producing beef every single day, because even though these plants are not running at 100%, they're still running. So we are still harvesting cattle, and beef is getting into the pipeline. But we are seeing some local variances, in some cases some regional variances. Give you a great example here in the Denver metro area. You can have a store that is out of beef, and then just 6 blocks away you'll have a store that has a fully stocked meat case. A lot of that depends upon the distributors that they're using and overall logistics. So our message is, if by chance Wendy's doesn't have that hamburger today, check back with them tomorrow. If your local grocery store doesn't have any steaks in the meat case, check back with them tomorrow, because we still are producing beef.
And last question for you. I understand that you had some time on Rural America Live the other evening. I'm curious to know, it was a call-in show. What were some of the primary questions and concerns you were hearing from callers?
Well, we're very thankful to RFD TV for giving us the opportunity to be a part of Rural America Live. It's a weekly show that they have, and it's a call-in show, and we got to hear from producers across the country. And they had various questions, but I think the biggest question on most everybody's mind is, what are we going to do with the markets? What are we going to do with these markets? Everybody's asking that question. What are we going to do with these markets? We formed a cattle marketing working group made up of NCBA members, producers. We formed that during our annual convention in San Antonio. They had their first face-to-face meeting in early March before the COVID crisis broke. And throughout the crisis, they have had phone calls to talk about what's going on in the marketplace. They are looking at different options, different ideas, and really that focus of taking our leverage back as producers and taking that leverage away from the packers. The idea is to have some ideas that can be debated and voted on during our summer business meeting in July here in Denver. But we also have to remind everybody that a portion of this market discussion goes back to the investigation that we requested the president take on in telling the Department of Justice and USDA to look at the cattle markets. That is happening, and I do believe that once that is done, which we have requested, they get it done very quickly. I think when those results come out, that will also be something we can factor in here to try to have a new course when it comes to cattle marketing that definitely makes sure that we're getting all the value that we deserve for the animals that we work so hard to produce.
That's really encouraging news. And I guess the other question I would ask is, for folks that have ideas, thoughts, concepts, they would like this committee or others to consider, what is their avenue to get that information to you all?
A couple of different avenues. First, go to your local state cattlemen's association. Those that are affiliated with NCBA, you're going to have a direct conduit into what we're doing, but also contact us. You're going to see our phone number multiple times throughout the show. Use that phone number not only to sign up to be a member, but to talk about some of the ideas that you have, and go to our website, because you can also submit ideas and suggestions through our website. So we have multiple ways to get in touch with us, and we welcome that feedback.
Very good. Colin, thank you for spending time with us, and thank you for all you and the rest of your staff and volunteer leaders are doing to help us weather this storm. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin.